So MVP, my experience, I had two experiences with one, not having a minimum viable product and then not launching, and then one with having a minimum viable product and being able to launch. And I want to go through the stories with you to kind of let you know what it is, why, kind of give you examples as though from my life. So my first entrance into the startup world, I worked at a fintech and we built an amazing product. It was amazing. We went to conferences, people loved it, it met the need of the customer. Exactly, it worked, it was certified, it checked all the boxes. And we're going to talk about creating the right team on another video, but why that's important. But things happened and the product never got into the Play Store, internal squabbles. And this was after 4 years. 4 years of developing bank quality, solid engineering, solid design. We had several versions, V1, version 2, which was more dynamic, like as a training ground for technical writers, visitors, developers, product managers. It was an amazing experience. However, in the lesson of launching, it kind of sucked. Let me know if you have ever worked as a product manager or in any kind of tech company and worked really, really hard on something and it just never saw the light of day. So that was the reason I think that happened was over perfection, things having to be perfect as compared to things having to be done. If it is that you see yourself tweaking, you're not the design guru and you're tweaking colors, or you have a lot of you're tweaking colors or adding additional features or making things super better. I know it sounds kind of silly, but if you find that what you have is good enough to compare to what's in the market, you can go to a conference and hold your own, then it's done. It should be in the stores. If you look at what you have, and I say a lot of things that you look at and feel, because a lot of what I do is instinct based. And said I do it, and maybe it should be good. But you have to kind of go through your application and go through your requirements and say, okay, who's the customer I'm solving for? What are their most basic needs? Are their most basic needs being met at another company? Yes or no? If it's yes, then okay, I have to do a little bit more than the basic need. If it's not being met and you're providing something that they don't have anyway, and it's simple to use, it has the functionality that it needs, then it's go out with 3 features instead of 10 or 100. Once you're out there with 3 features, let it be a beta group, let it be your friends and family, put it out there. Then you're gonna get feedback. You're gonna have it in, people are gonna comment on it in the Play Store. People are going to, you can market it on different platforms and people are going to use it, and then you're going to say, oh, okay. So you like my 3 features, or you thought they were all crap. Okay, no problem. What do you want? And then you can tweak and change, and you can be agile and you can change things as you go along. But if you don't have it out the door, then you are basically changing still based on what you think or some very small focus group. And what that means is that you're not really ever going to be sure that what you provide is of value until you get it out there. A scenario in which this worked for me. My MVP went through the door, everything was gravy, it was on time. Because being on time is important as a product manager. Don't make nobody tell you rubbish. Is so in that experience, right? I got a list of like 300 requirements, and luckily they were prioritized, like 1 to 4 priority. Because it was a huge company that I was representing, it had to be designed right, so I couldn't skip on design. So design became one of the factors of my MVP, because it wasn't a new product, it was just a product transition from one to the next. And what was important to me is to define what MVP was. So the main goal was to be world class and to look world class and to feel world class in our transition. To do that, the design, as I said, was super important. So we spent a lot of time making sure that the design was the right design, working with the design team, doing a lot of reviews with customer care, different factors of the business, just to ensure that it was the right design. Okay, so then now, because design was so important and took so very long, you now had a small amount of time to build it. Usually you may not have the space, your design team may be in-house, so even when your design team is in-house, you find that designers tweak and so sometimes you end up developing something a million times if you don't just get enough time to finish what you're doing. So the designers finished what they were doing, and it was now time to build it. Developers like 6 months minimum. I only had 2. So at that point, you had to say, because our minimum viable product was a new look and feel. Same features, functionality, but main look and feel. So I had to come up with a list of sections of the application that had to change for a user to see and feel that the look and feel was finished. So it wasn't until maybe 1 year after launching that the entire look and feel that was designed was actually built. However, when it went out, the menus were different. The home page was different. The different main categories of the app was different. So most things that people would be interacting with on a day-to-day was different. Went through and we changed all the buttons and the major, what you'd call CSS for our website, to ensure that it aligned conceptually with the look and feel of the design. However, the actual design may not have been implemented in more internal pages that persons wouldn't necessarily be using regularly. Because one of the things I always say is your customer doesn't know your design. They don't know. They don't know what you had planned to give them. It's all in your mind. It's all in your head. So you don't give them what you plan to give them when you plan to give it to them. Ain't going on. So we were able to launch on time. We were able to get it out the door because we broke it up in phases. We broke it up and did the minimum viable product to get it out the door. And it was a huge success, massive. And you're super proud. And then the next day you just go back to work making how it should be, being all agile. We'll talk about that in a different video. But yeah, first thing is just to make a list. What must be in this thing for it to be viable? And then stick to it as much as possible. And work with your team to ensure that they're aligned and everybody is working like a tip-top ship, getting you that minimum viable product. So if this content was useful, like, share it with somebody who wants to be a product manager or is not launching because they don't have an MVP and they're just trying to make it perfect. And subscribe, if you want more content like this. You can email me at winnie@winniedzidonu.com. I'll put it in the comments or description so you can find it. and just let me know if you have any other questions.